The architectural creation of Binondo was brilliantly conceived by a debonair and dynamic Spanish Governor-General Luis Perez Dasmariñas. This tremendous and cultural lasting idea of his had started in the year 1584. At first, his historical nook was only constructed for the main purpose of having a simple settlement for Chinese immigrants in the Philippines, who were commonly known as the Sanglays. The Chinese brought with them a new culture, and over time, Binondo became a melting pot of Chinese and Filipino influences that had helped define the place. It also became the main center for business and finance in Manila for the ethnic Chinese, Chinese mestizos, and Spanish Filipino. Most countries have their own Chinese communities, though it is in the Philippines that you will find the oldest Chinatown in the world. Manila's Chinatown is called Binondo, derived from the Tagalog word Binondo, which means mountainous, as it is set on a hilly landscape. It has a rich history and heritage dating as far back as the early decades of the Spanish colonial period. It boasts not only the best and authentic Chinese cuisines in town, but also landmarks, relics, and ancient practices of cultural and historic significance, some of which are not known to many. In this documentary, we have featured 6 historical sites and establishments that can be found within the town, few of which had undergone innovations. These sites were the Salazar Bakery, President Grand Palace, the Street Shrine, Angbitin, Place Caldera de la Barca, and one of the most visited sites in Chinatown, the Binondo Church, an ancient Catholic place of worship.
A trip to Binondo would not be complete without bringing home pasalubong. So we're here now in one of the famous bake shop here in Binondo where we can find delicious pasalubong. So let's go inside. Mooncakes are always patok during Chinese festivals or any special occasions. They look very fancy on the outside and have an interesting flavor on the inside. They also have various flavors and some has salty egg inside. The mooncake is actually covered with a pastry similar to that hopias, but is noticeably thin. The cake was filled with sweet, melt-in-your-mouth filling, which are sweet potatoes or some white lotus.
So this is the President Grand Palace, and it has been here since mid to late 70s. It is a popular spot for families to enjoy a traditional Chinese feast. The President Grand Palace restaurant was used to be an old theater that showed Chinese movies. And some says that it still has the old movie theater vibe, especially when you enter. You can see where the ticket booth used to be, and upstairs they still keep all the chairs.
Here we have the Shrine of Cristo de Longos, currently located in Binondo, behind Binondo Church. This is where Filipino and Chinese comes and pray and devote and to later offers here for Santa Cristo de Longos. The second street shrine deemed to be more popular to the Filipino-Chinese community, devotees and pilgrims, the shrine features a cross without the corpus, yet a heart-like figure is prominently displayed at the center. The heart-like figure somehow alluded to the Sacred Heart of Jesus, another popular devotion to Jesus Christ. This street shrine was erected at the corner of Ongping Street near a supermarket. Here devotees venerating the wooden cross, honoring Christ in a fusion of Filipino, Chinese custom and traditions. This cross is covered with gold-plated covering and the heart figure was untouched. The cross is always adorned with Sampaguita garlands with Buddha's incense sticks and lit, and prayers are offered by visitors of the shrine. Local folks always say you need to drop by the miraculous cross to pay respect and for good luck whenever in Binondo. True enough, the cross is also gained devotees and miracles were also attributed to the veneration of the cross. Veneration of this cross.
Eng Bitin started out as a simple stall in the heart of Ongpin, Binondo, established by Mr. Chua Chiu Hong. It became known for its traditional Chinese delicacies such as hopia, tikoy, and glutinous peanut balls. In 1970, many stores competed with Eng Bitin, which made it experience financial difficulties and almost reach bankruptcy. This was resolved by Jerry Chua, the son of the founder, who took over the business in 1987. He introduced hopia made from purple yam or ube, the first modern flavor of hopia, as well as developed a grinding process of making hopia from root crops and a technique to make the food product creamier. Aside from hopia ube, Eng Bitin pioneered other hopia innovations with now over 25 variants of hopia, including mochi hopia, kombi hopia, and custard hopia.
Across Binondo Church is Plaza Calderon de la Barca, which was one of the most impressive open spaces in Old Manila. So, here we are. The plaza was named as Plaza de Binondo, then Plaza Carlos IV, before it was named after the Spanish playwright, and later as Plaza San Lorenzo Ruiz, whose statue dramatically stands on the plaza. The late historian Teodoro Agoncillo described Plaza Calderon de la Barca as one of the most impressive open spaces of Old Manila. It was lined with trees and beautifully landscaped with fountains at either ends. Mansions and large establishments surrounded the plaza, on whose principal site was the Binondo Church. At the northern end of the plaza is an obelisk dating back to 1916, which was erected in memory of Thomas Pinpin, the first Filipino printer, which was moved to the plaza from Plaza Cervantes in 1979. Behind the statue of Lorenzo Ruiz is a memorial to Chinese-Filipino victims of World War II, erected in 1995 by the Confederation of Filipino-Chinese Veterans.
By the 1640s, Binondo boasted a stone church with 50 large windows and adorned with elaborate tapestries and paintings.
So we're here at Binondo Church, one of the most historical places here at Binondo. This church was destroyed during the British invasion but was rebuilt in greater splendor as its residents, a mix of native and Chinese, grew in wealth.
The image of the crucified Christ was immediately fitted to a cross and was transferred to the Capilla de San Gabriel, where the image of the Virgin del Pronto Socorro was also enshrined. The image of Santo Cristo and the Virgin del Pronto Socorro was later transferred to Binondo Church, then known as the Santa Reyes Parish, after the San Gabriel Chapel was destroyed during the earthquake of 1863. Both images were unscratched after the earthquake, but the people believe that the image are miraculous. The image was placed inside a special niche by the side entrance of the church. Since then, the image is venerated by the faithful, especially by the Chinese Filipinos, up to the present.
Chinatown in Binondo, Manila may not be the cleanest, most pleasant place in the Philippines, but visitors usually live happy, having found the best that the Filipino-Chinese community can offer. Now we all have seen that the wonderful town of Binondo offers not only delicious cuisines and delicacies, but also a wide array of famous landmarks, historical structures, and artistic buildings, which will make a Filipino realize that a country like the Philippines is a sweet haven of inherited art and culture, no matter what the tides might bring.